Someone noticed it before I did, because I was still stuck on the horn in my bones. We'd been sitting on the mats in the cafeteria, breathing through that aftershock quiet, trying to pretend the walls weren't listening. Mr. Haskins had his back to the barricaded doors, yardstick across his knees like it was a rifle. Tyler kept rubbing his hands on his jeans like he couldn't get something off. Jaden paced in a tight loop and kept stopping at the same ketchup-colored scuff on the floor, like his brain needed a landmark. Eli sat cross-legged, eyes down, humming under his breath in a tone that didn't match any song I knew. Mia hadn't moved much since the stairwell. She'd been folded into herself, hoodie pulled tight, her shoulder turned away from everyone. Nina stayed next to her, one arm around her back, doing that steadying thing where you squeeze without looking like you're squeezing. Then, Nina froze. It wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of freeze you see in a grocery store aisle when someone realizes their kid isn't next to them anymore. Nina leaned closer to Mia and said very quietly, "Mia, can you lift your sleeve?" Mia didn't answer. She didn't look up. Her fingers kept worrying at the hem of her hoodie like she was trying to pick a thread out. Nina tried again, voice still low but tighter now. "Mia, your shoulder. Let me see it." Mia shook her head once, small, refusal without words. Tyler had been watching from the other mat. He sat up. "What's wrong with her shoulder?" "Nothing," Mia whispered. The word sounded scraped. Nina swallowed. "Mia, you're shaking." "I'm cold," Mia said. It didn't match the sweat on her hairline. Mr. Haskins lifted his head. "Mia," he said, gentle and exhausted. "We need to check you. If you're hurt, we need to know." Mia's hands clenched into fists in her lap. Her breathing got fast. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't touch it." Jaden stopped pacing. "Touch what?" Eli's humming shifted a half step, like he was adjusting to a frequency in the room. Nina's fingers moved to the edge of Mia's hoodie sleeve anyway, slow, like she was approaching a skittish animal. "I'm not trying to scare you," Nina whispered. "I just need to see if it's worse." Mia jerked back so hard she hit the wall behind her. The movement made the hoodie pull tight across her shoulder, and for a second, the fabric looked wrong. Not wrinkled, not stretched. Wrong, like it had a shape underneath that wasn't her body. Tyler's eyes narrowed. "Hold up." Mia looked at him, and I saw her left eye catch the dim cafeteria light. It didn't reflect like an eye. It had a sheen, thin and oily, like someone had breathed on glass and smeared it with a thumb. A film that made the pupil look deeper than it should, almost wet black, like the hole went somewhere. Nina saw it too. Her face went pale fast. "Mia." Mia's jaw tightened. "Stop." Jaden took one step closer, then another, then stopped, like he remembered we were all trying to keep our movements small. "Your eye," he whispered. "Mia, your eye." Mia flinched like the word itself hit her. Her hand flew up to her face, covering the left side. Mr. Haskins pushed himself up, slow. "Nobody crowd her," he said. Then, to Mia, softer. "Look at me. Just look at me for a second." Mia's shoulders started shaking, like she was trying to hold something inside, and it kept pushing. Nina reached again, fingers hovering, and Mia slapped her hand away. It wasn't hard. It wasn't meant to hurt. It still made Nina gasp and pull back like she'd been burned. Tyler's voice came out sharp. "Dude, what the hell?" Mia stood up in one sudden motion that made all of us jolt. The mat squeaked. Somebody's empty water bottle rolled and clinked softly against the leg chair, and the sound felt like a flare in the dark. The hoodie rolled up to her waist, and the fabric over her shoulder didn't move with her the way cloth should. It tugged like skin. My stomach turned. Mia backed away from us toward the stage, breathing through her teeth. Her hand stayed on her face. The other tugged at her hoodie sleeve. "Take it off," Nina pleaded. "Mia, just take it off, okay? Just take it off and we'll..." Mia yanked at the hoodie collar. The fabric didn't lift. It pulled her skin with it. A tiny wet sound happened at her collarbone, like tape coming off something that shouldn't have tape. Mia made a noise I'd never heard from her before, a tight animal sound. She stumbled back, eyes wide, panicked. Her left hand clawed at the hoodie like she could rip it off and get her body back. The hoodie didn't tear. It held. It was fused. Tyler whispered, "Oh my God." Jaden's face twisted. That stuck to her. Mr. Haskins took one slow step forward. "Mia," he said, "don't pull. You'll..." Mia pulled again, harder. This time, the fabric lifted half an inch, and her skin lifted with it like it had become one surface. A thin line of blood welled along the seam of cloth and flesh. Nina cried out, hands to her mouth. "Stop! Please!" Mia stared at the blood like it wasn't hers. Then her left eye, uncovered now, looked upward for the smallest second. Her whole body stiffened like a string pulled tight. She inhaled, fast, sharp, like a hiccup. I saw her expression change. Not a movie flip. More like someone hearing a voice through a wall and realizing it's calling their name. Mia's head turned towards the cafeteria windows we'd papered over. Her feet shifted, angled. Mr. Haskins lunged forward, not running, but moving fast enough that the mat squeaked again. "Mia," he snapped. "Eyes down, right now." Mia's gaze dropped, but she looked furious, like he'd interrupted a sentence she needed to finish. Her left eye shimmered. She blinked once and the film shifted like oil on water. She whispered, barely audible, "It knows." Eli's humming stopped. The cafeteria felt colder for a second. Not temperature, pressure. Like the air got heavier and decided to sit on our shoulders. Mr. Haskins went still. "Mia, stay with us," he said. His voice shook, just a little. "Look at the floor. Look at Nina's shoes. Look at anything down here." Mia looked down. She looked at Nina's shoes. Then she looked past them toward the kitchen doors, toward the hallway, toward anywhere that wasn't us. Her shoulders rolled like she was shrugging off a weight she'd been carrying. "I can't," she whispered. And then she bolted. She sprinted across the cafeteria. She was slapping the linoleum loud enough that my skin crawled. She hit the stage stairs, took them two at a time. The stage curtains swayed as she shoved through the gap behind them. Nina screamed her name and took off after her. Tyler grabbed Nina's wrist. "Don't just run." Nina yanked free and kept going, eyes shiny, face set like she'd made a decision she couldn't unmake. Jaden swore and ran too. I moved without thinking because if I didn't, I'd be stuck in that moment forever. Mr. Haskins shouted, "Stay together!" and followed, yardstick in hand. Eli was last, drifting after us like he'd been waiting for the scene to start. We hit the stage. Backstage smelled like dust and old paint and that weird, musty theater scent, like velvet seats and sweat. There were prop racks, a rolling ladder, a stack of folding chairs with a ripped "Property of Westbrook" sticker on one leg, A plastic bin labeled Winter Concert Lights in Sharpie, half open like someone had been rummaging. Mia's footsteps echoed ahead, fast and uneven. Nina shouted, "Mia, stop!" Mia didn't. She made a hard turn into a backstage corridor and disappeared. We followed. The corridor felt narrower than it should. The walls were closer. I brushed the bulletin board and it felt damp, like the cork was sweating. A couple paper flyers were sagging, their tape loosened, corners curling like they'd been steamed. We burst into the side hallway. This hall was supposed to run parallel to the gym. It had trophy banners on one wall, and those faded posters about school spirit and attendance on the other. It looked like that. It also looked like the building had grown tired of pretending. Something pale and fleshy bulged along the baseboards. At first, my brain tried to file it as spilled insulation or some gross mold. Then, I saw it pulse. The substance wasn't just on one patch of wall. It had spread in branching streaks like veins, creeping up the cinder block and around the edges of posters. It looked wet, but not dripping. It had a texture like raw chicken skin left out too long, stretched thin, slightly translucent. In a couple places, it had grown over the poster edges, and the paper underneath looked softened, like it was being dissolved. Tyler skidded to a stop and almost slipped. "What is that?" Mr. Haskins held up a hand, forcing us to slow. "Don't touch it." Jaden breathed fast. "That wasn't here yesterday." Nina didn't stop. She ran straight down the hall after Mia, like her brain decided danger didn't count if you loved the person running from you. "Mia!" she yelled again. Mia's footsteps were still ahead, still moving. We chased. The flesh stuff thickened as we went. It climbed higher up the walls and started to lace across the ceiling in thin strands. It looked like someone had brushed a wet, translucent paste up there. Every few feet, it gathered into thicker nodules, swollen like something underneath was trying to push through. One of the nodules twitched, and I realized it wasn't just pulsing. It was shifting position, slow, like it was adjusting itself to sound. I kept my eyes level and low like a habit. I couldn't help seeing it. We rounded a corner by the gym entrance. The gym doors were open a crack. The rubber smell leaked out strong. The gym lights were dead, but the far wall windows let in the same wrong white daylight. It painted the floor in long rectangles. The rectangles didn't line up cleanly with the window frames. They looked skewed, like somebody had placed them there from a slightly different angle than reality. Mia cut across the gym without hesitation. Nina chased her into open space. Mr. Haskins' jaw clenched. "Gym is exposure," he muttered, more to himself than to us. Tyler spat. "We're already exposed." We ran in. The sound of our shoes changed immediately, louder in the open gym. The echoes piled up and bounced. It made me feel like we were announcing ourselves with every step. Somewhere near the bleachers, a basketball rolled a few inches on its own, just a soft rubber scrape, and my brain tried to make it a sign until I forced it back down. Mia was halfway to the opposite exit, hood half off her head now, hair stuck to her face. Her left eye flashed wet black as she glanced back at us for a fraction of a second. Fear was on her face. Something else was there too. A kind of urgency that didn't look like panic, like she was trying to get somewhere before something else got there first. She hit the far exit doors and shoved through. Nina followed so close, she nearly collided with her. "Mia, please." Mia didn't even slow. She sprinted into the hall beyond. We hit the doors in a cluster and spilled out after them. The hall on the other side of the gym should have connected back toward the cafeteria via a short corridor. It didn't. The corridor stretched longer than it should. the same way it had the first time we went for the water fountain. The distance to the intersection looked like someone had pulled it like taffy. The lockers along the walls had dents that weren't school dents anymore. They looked pressed in with careful force, like a thumbprint scaled up. Tyler whispered, "That's not right." Mr. Haskins said through his teeth, "Keep moving." We ran. The walls along this corridor had more of the flesh growth. It had climbed shoulder height now. It bulged around locker seams and oozed through the little vents like the building had been stuffed with meat. In one spot, it had grown around a lock, and the lock looked swallowed, half melted into it. The smell hit me a second later. Warm, organic, like a butcher shop dumpster with bleach thrown on it. It made my throat tighten. Mia's footsteps were ahead, then suddenly stopped. Nina almost ran into her. Mia stood at the intersection, breathing hard, staring down the main hallway that led toward the front of the school. The front hallway had windows. Big ones. Papered or not, it was still the front. Mia's head tilted, as if she was listening. Nina stepped closer, hands out. "Mia, talk to me. Please, look at me." Mia didn't look at Nina. She stared at the floor where the corner met the wall, like she couldn't risk letting her gaze drift. Her voice was thin. "I have to go." "Go where?" Nina whispered. Mia swallowed. Her hoodie collar moved weirdly with her throat, like the cloth was part of her now. "Away," she said. Jaden ran a hand through his hair so hard it stood up. "You can't just run into the front hall. That's where the windows are." Mia's left eye flicked to him. The oily film caught the light and shimmered. "I didn't choose this," she said, and her voice cracked on it. Mr. Haskins stepped forward carefully. "Mia," he said, "we're not letting you go alone into a danger zone. If you're compromised, we'll handle it together. If you're not, we'll still handle it together." Mia stared at him, and for a second, she looked like she was about to say something normal, something human, something like, "Sorry." Instead, her lips parted and she whispered, "Compromised." She said it softly, like she was trying it out. Eli behind us murmured, "Marked." Marked turns into guided. Tyler snapped, "Can you shut your mouth for once?" Eli shrugged, eyes down. "You can dislike it. It still happens." Mia's breathing sped up. She squeezed her eyes shut for a second, like she was fighting something inside her head. When she opened them again, her left eye looked darker, the sheen thicker. Nina's voice went small. "Mia, did you look outside?" Mia flinched. "No." Nina swallowed. "Did you look up at all? Ceiling? Windows? Anything?" Mia's jaw clenched. "I didn't. It touched me. I didn't ask it to touch me." Mr. Haskins said very quietly, "Where did it touch you?" Mia lifted her sleeve with shaking fingers. The hoodie didn't move like fabric. It slid like skin being peeled. A patch of the fleshy substance clung to her shoulder under the fused cloth, darker than the wall growth. It looked like a bruise made of meat. The edges of it weren't clean. They feathered out like it was spreading under her skin. Jaden gagged. He turned his head fast and swallowed hard. Nina made a soft sob, like her throat couldn't handle it. Mr. Haskins' eyes got wet, and he blinked hard. "Okay," he said. "Okay, we can still manage this. We can..." Mia took a step back. Then another. Her gaze snapped toward the front hallway again, like something tugged her attention. Nina moved with her, trying to keep distance without losing her. "Mia, please don't run again. Just tell us what you're hearing." Mia's voice dropped to a whisper. It's loud. Who is? Tyler asked, voice rough. Mia blinked. The film shifted. The ones that say, "Fear not." Some stories end when the words stop. Others don't end at all. If you enjoyed this story, there are many more waiting in the dark. Until next time.